My grandmother kept a small brown bottle hidden under her kitchen sink. Inside that bottle was nothing more than plain dish soap and water. Every single summer, the cabbage worms came for her collard greens. Every single summer, her collards came out thick, green, and whole. She never once sprayed a harsh chemical on her vegetable garden. 2 spoons of dish soap was her entire pest control arsenal. She used to call it the poor man's poison for bugs. Today I'm going to carefully show you her whole entire method. We'll cover the recipe, the exact ratios, and the full method. By the end, you'll know exactly which pests it kills outright. You'll also know exactly which garden bugs you should leave alone. Aphids showed up on her climbing rose bushes every single April. Spider mites always loved the underside of her ripening tomato leaves. Whiteflies clouded up the air whenever she brushed the pepper plants. Mealybugs hid in the tight joints where stems meet the leaves. Japanese beetles skeletonized her bean leaves down to the bare veins. Cabbage loopers chewed lace patterns straight through her prized broccoli heads. None of these pests survived more than a couple of days. Store-bought pesticides kill the good bugs alongside the bad ones. Ladybugs, lacewings, and honeybees don't stand a single chance against them. Grandma's soap spray left her honeybees completely unharmed and still buzzing. Chemical sprays also soaked deep into the soil for years afterward. Her soil stayed dark, crumbly, and packed full of earthworms instead. She grew vegetables in that same patch of dirt for decades. No rotation, no fallow years, and no dead zones anywhere at all. That soap never poisoned a single bite of her summer harvest. Her grandkids ate cherry tomatoes straight off the vine, completely unwashed. That's the real difference between her method and a store bottle. The recipe itself starts with exactly what she put in that bottle. 2 full teaspoons of plain dish soap, nothing fancy or scented. 1 full quart of water, preferably water that sat out overnight. Chlorine sitting in tap water can weaken the mixture's overall effectiveness. She always reached for a plain Castile or blue dish soap, never the antibacterial kind, and never anything with added lotion inside. Lotion and moisturizers coat the leaf and trap in extra heat. That extra coating can scorch delicate leaves under strong afternoon sun. Plain soap breaks down clean and rinses away easily with water. She poured the mixture straight into an old glass spray bottle. No funnel needed, just a steady hand and years of practice. She would shake that bottle hard for a full 10 seconds. Soap and water separate fast if you never bother to shake. A separated spray misses half the bugs hiding on the leaf. 2 spoons of soap kills soft-bodied pests for one specific reason. Aphids, mites, and whiteflies breathe through tiny pores in their skin. Soap breaks down the waxy coating that seals those pores shut. Without that coating, the pest suffocates within just a couple hours. That's simple physics doing the work, not some hidden poison inside. Hard-shelled beetles survive the spray because their armor resists water. Grandma always used a second trick just for these tougher beetles. She would hand-pick beetles into a jar of soapy water. That same 2-spoon ratio worked there too, just mixed stronger. Soft-bodied pests always went first, every time in the garden. She applied this exact spray to her plants in a specific way. She sprayed early morning, right after the dew had fully dried. Never in the heat of midday, and never under direct sun. Soap combined with sunlight and heat can burn tender young leaves. Evening worked fine too, once the worst afternoon heat had passed. She would flip every leaf over and spray the underside first. That's exactly where aphids and mites hide away from the daylight. Most people only spray the tops and completely miss the infestation. The top of the leaf rarely holds the actual living pests. She would coat both sides until the leaf glistened just slightly. Not dripping wet, just a fine, even coat across the surface. Too much soap left behind a chalky white residue on leaves. That residue can block sunlight from reaching the leaf's green surface. She sprayed every 3 days until the pests disappeared for good. 3 applications usually cleared out a moderate aphid infestation completely and entirely. Heavier infestations sometimes needed 5 or 6 full rounds of spraying. Patience mattered more than raw strength when it came to dosage. Doubling the soap doesn't double the results. It just burns leaves. She tested every new batch on just one single leaf first. Wait 24 full hours before spraying the whole entire plant. If that one leaf yellowed or curled, she would weaken the mix. Some garden plants are simply more sensitive than others to soap. Ferns, succulents, and certain herbs react badly to almost any soap. She never once sprayed her rosemary or her lavender with it. Tomatoes, peppers, roses, and cabbage family plants handled the spray fine. Cucumbers and squash needed a slightly weaker 1-spoon dish mix. Their thinner leaves scorch much faster under a stronger soap mixture. This spray actually eliminates a very specific list of garden pests outright. Aphids cluster in tight little groups along new tender growth spots. One good spray sends them curling off the stem within hours. Spider mites leave tiny yellow speckles scattered across the whole leaf. You'll notice fine webbing once the infestation has really gone unchecked. The soap suffocates them before they can spin much more webbing. Whiteflies scatter into little clouds the moment you touch the plant. Spray at dusk when they've finally settled down for the night. Mealybugs look like tiny cotton tufts stuck along the plant's stem. The soap dissolves their waxy coating within just a few hours. Thrips are harder to see, but leave silvery streaks across leaves. A stronger 3-spoon mix handles thrips more effectively than 2. Scale insects need repeated applications since their hard shells resist soap. Combine the spray with a soft toothbrush for stubborn scale insects. Cabbage worms and loopers respond best to direct contact spraying always. Catch them mid-chew, and the spray works almost instantly every time. Squash bugs are tougher and need the beetle jar method instead. This spray also leaves quite a few good garden insects completely untouched. Ladybugs walk right through a light mist, completely unharmed and fine. Bees rarely land anywhere the spray has already dried out completely. Still, never spray open blooming flowers while bees are actively visiting. Spray in early morning or late evening when bees have gone home. Earthworms underground never feel a single drop of this surface spray. Praying mantis and lacewing larvae are simply too fast to catch. This selectivity is exactly why Grandma trusted it for over 40 years. A healthy garden needs its good bugs just as much as control. Kill everything and the next infestation arrives with nothing left stopping it. Now let's cover a few mistakes that can ruin this simple recipe. Using dish soap with degreaser additives can strip a leaf's protective cuticle. That cuticle is the plant's own natural defense against losing water. Strip it away, and the plant dries out within a single day. Always check the label for added fragrance, bleach, or harsh degreasers first. Plain, basic, unscented soap is really the only safe choice here. Spraying during a heat wave above 90 degrees will scorch every leaf. Wait for a cooler morning even if the pests keep spreading. Overcrowding the mixture with too much soap creates a thick, soapy film. That film blocks the leaf's tiny pores from breathing normally at all. Spraying right before rain washes the mixture away before it can work. Check the forecast and spray only on a dry, calm afternoon. Reusing an old spray bottle that once held herbicide can poison plants. Always use a bottle that has only held soap and water. Skipping the patch test is the single most common beginner mistake here. One scorched leaf teaches you faster than any article ever really could. Now for a few variations Grandma kept for the toughest infestations. For beetles and stubborn pests, she would add a clove of garlic. Crush that garlic and let it steep in the water overnight. Garlic sulfur compounds repel beetles even before the soap ever touches them. For fungus gnats, she would add a small pinch of cinnamon powder. Cinnamon disrupts the fungal growth that gnat larvae actually feed on. For a stronger spray, she would mix in a spoon of oil. Vegetable oil coats the pest completely and blocks its breathing pores shut. This oil version worked best on scale insects and tough beetles. Never use the oil version during a hot, sunny summer afternoon, though. Oil traps extra heat against the leaf and can cause serious burns. For aphid-heavy years, she would add a spoon of cayenne pepper. Cayenne irritates the pest's exoskeleton and drives them straight off the plant. She always wore gloves when handling the cayenne version of this mix. Getting cayenne spray anywhere near your eyes will ruin your whole afternoon. Each variation still started with that same 2 spoons of soap. The soap was always the base, everything else was just an addition. That base ratio never once changed, no matter which pest she fought. Consistency was her real secret, not some rotating list of fancy ingredients. People still ask why this old method beats modern store-bought sprays. Modern sprays kill fast but leave behind residue for weeks afterward. This spray breaks down within a day and leaves nothing lasting behind. You can pick and eat produce the very same afternoon you spray. Just rinse the leaves under cool water before you bring them inside. That's something you will never once hear on a pesticide bottle's label. Her garden fed 6 kids without a single trip to any hospital. No rashes, no chemical burns, and no worried calls to poison control. Just a brown glass bottle and 2 spoons of plain dish soap. If your garden is under attack right now, don't panic just yet. Walk outside, flip a few leaves over, and see what's actually there. If it's soft-bodied and small, this simple spray will handle it. Mix your 2 spoons of soap into 1 full quart mason jar. Shake it hard, flip your leaves over, and spray the undersides first. Give it 3 full days before you judge whether it really worked. Most infestations break within the very first 2 or 3 applications. Keep a small batch mixed and ready during the whole growing season. Pests rarely give you much warning before they suddenly show up. A 5-minute spray now saves an entire harvest later this season. That's the whole secret my grandmother kept under her kitchen sink. Nothing complicated, nothing expensive, just soap, water, and 1 steady hand. Try it on just 1 plant this week and watch what happens. Tell me in the comments which pest you're fighting right now today. She learned this trick from her own mother during the Great Depression. Back then, nobody could afford a bottle of store-bought pesticide. Soap was already sitting in every kitchen across the whole county. Necessity turned an ordinary bar of soap into a garden lifeline. She passed the recipe down the same way her mother taught her. No written instructions, just a demonstration in the garden every spring. She never measured with a real spoon, just an old teaspoon. Precision mattered less to her than consistency across every single batch. Modern pesticides showed up decades after she had already solved the problem. Companies sold convenience, but it came with a hidden long-term cost. Runoff from sprayed yards drained straight into streams and local groundwater. Fish and frogs absorb those chemicals long after the bottle is empty. Her soap spray broke down into nothing more than water and fat. Nothing toxic lingered in the soil once the soap had fully dissolved. That's a difference worth remembering before you reach for a chemical spray. Aphids reproduce shockingly fast once they find a healthy, unprotected plant. A single female aphid can produce dozens of offspring within 1 week. That's why Grandma never waited to treat even a small infestation. Catching aphids early always meant fewer applications later in the season. Spider mites thrive in hot, dry conditions with very little rainfall. A light daily misting alongside the soap spray keeps mite populations down. Whiteflies lay their eggs on the underside of tender young leaves. Spraying those undersides directly interrupts their entire breeding cycle early on. Let's clear up a few myths people still believe about dish soap. Some folks think any liquid soap works the same in a spray. Dish soaps formulated with degreasers can actually damage a plant's leaves. Hand soap and laundry detergent contain additives that harm tender foliage. Stick strictly to a plain, basic dish soap for garden use. Another myth claims more soap always means faster, stronger pest control. More soap just means a higher risk of burning your plants. The 2-spoon ratio exists because it's the sweet spot for effectiveness. Too weak, and the pests barely notice the spray at all. Too strong, and you risk damaging the very plant you're protecting. For a small container garden, a single quart of spray usually lasts. For a full backyard vegetable patch, mix a full gallon batch instead. Simply multiply the ratio, always 2 spoons of soap per quart. Keep the same 1:16 ratio, no matter the batch size. A gallon needs about 8 full teaspoons of plain dish soap. Label your spray bottle clearly so nobody confuses it with cleaning soap. Store leftover spray in a cool, dark spot away from direct sunlight. Fresh batches work best, so avoid keeping spray longer than a week. Old spray can lose potency and separate even inside a sealed bottle. Always give the bottle one more good shake before every single use. A neighbor once asked Grandma why she never lost a tomato plant. Her answer was always the same brown bottle sitting under the sink. Word spread through the whole neighborhood faster than any pest ever could. Soon half the block was mixing soap and water in old jars. Nobody paid a dime for pest control that entire growing season. That's the kind of remedy that spreads because it simply works. No marketing, no packaging, just a grandmother sharing what she already knew. This spray also works beautifully on houseplants struggling with indoor pests. Fungus gnats and spider mites love the dry air inside most homes. The same 2-spoon ratio handles indoor pests just as well outdoors. Just mist lightly and always avoid oversaturating the surrounding houseplant soil. Let the leaves fully dry before moving a plant back to sunlight. A wet leaf under direct light can develop scorched brown patches fast. Even greenhouse growers rely on this same basic method for their crops. Commercial growers just use industrial versions of the very same soap principle. The science never changed, only the scale of the operation grew larger. That should tell you something about how well this old trick works. If you've got a stubborn infestation, don't be afraid to combine methods. Soap spray alongside hand-picking beetles covers nearly every pest you'll face. Companion planting marigolds nearby adds another natural layer of pest defense. Grandma always planted marigolds along the border of her vegetable rows. Their strong scent confuses many pests before they even reach your plants. None of these methods alone solve every single problem in a garden. Together, they build a defense that no single pesticide bottle can match. That layered approach is how she gardened without chemicals for decades. Your grandparents likely knew tricks like this long before you were born. Most of them just faded away once store shelves filled with pesticides. This channel exists to bring those forgotten tricks back into your garden. If this helped, that brown bottle trick is only the beginning here. We've got dozens more old remedies waiting for you on this channel. Subscribe if you want the next one delivered straight to your feed. Until then, go mix your own bottle and save your garden today.